Less than 3 weeks away from the start of the 2025 SEC football season. Kickoff is on the horizon, and we are here previewing, predicting, handing out accolades, giving scorching hot takes, locking in best bets, talking everything you need to know for the upcoming 2025 SEC football season. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is SEC Unfiltered's official mega preview, if you will. We'll talk everything from not just your predicted order of finish, your predictions, your records, but like I mentioned, who's the best player in the conference? Who's going to win Coach of the Year? Who's the most overrated team? What's the best game? What's the game people are sleeping on? And so much more. Once again, guys, as always, this is the Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered's SEC football show, the best SEC football show on the internet. I am Chris Phillips. Joining me, as he always does, my good friend Cole the Bear Thompson. Guys, before we get going, as always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, check us out via podcast, where we get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we are powered by our friends over at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today to get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get $250 in bonus bets today. The season is just around the corner. It's right there on the horizon. It's so close. We can smell it. We can feel it. We can almost taste it. Bear, it's here. The SEC football season officially, 2025 edition. And we are here previewing and predicting the whole darn thing. This is our official SEC football season preview show. Of course, we've been doing a lot of different individual segments, a lot of different previews, if you will. This is the big one. This is the one to get you ready. We are really excited to be here. Again, going to talk everything, like I mentioned, from some best bets, best players, best coaches. We're going to lock in our picks, predicted order of finish, updated going into the season, some records as well, so much more. We have got a ton to get into. And like I mentioned, of course, guys, this is the Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered's SEC football show, the best SEC football show on the internet. I am joined, as always, by the best co-host in the game, Cole the Bear Thompson. Cole, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time. And if you can't tell, I'm fired up for this one, Bear, because, again, this is our official SEC season preview show. Stoked to do it with you, my friend.
Let's piss off some college football fan bases. Why don't we on a fine Monday evening? How we doing? Now, let's do this. This is gonna be a lot of fun. And remember, our predictions are 99.9% right. So that just means that we're speaking it into existence. You can't come back and argue with us. I don't fight what is the reality of the world. There are a lot of cool, interesting bets. There's going to be a lot of teams I talk about that you probably said, Cole hates this team. No, I don't hate your team. I just am lower on them. There's going to be a lot of teams that I was overhyping at the start of the year that now we're going to come back down to reality and have a cold dose of what is 8-4 type of regular season. But all of that to be said, let's go ahead and rock, man. Let's knock this out. Let's go ahead and make sure that we make no stone unturned of a team saying, gosh dang it, they're at it again. They're doing dumb things again over at SEC Unfiltered.
Yeah, just to give you guys an idea, an indicator of how close we are. Obviously, this show dropping is a really good indicator. But, Bear, we're going to start talking week one matchups next week. We're going to be previewing week one games next week. And do you realize also, and I'm sure you do, and I know everybody else out there does as well, we got this week, we got next week. And next week is week 0 game week. But we got this week and next week. After that, it's on. We're into game week for SEC football with Mizzou getting us going on Thursday, Auburn on Friday, and, of course, then we're off and running with the weekend slate. So we are truly that close when it comes to kickoff. And, oh, by the way, before we get going, too, just kind of a disclaimer like you were talking about, Bear, with predictions. And you and I were talking off air, and I'll just say, number one, I told Bear this, but after last season, I don't think there's a bad pick anymore. Like, I get crazy with it, you know? All the ball knowers out there. Did any ball knowers out there pick Vandy to beat Alabama? I mean, did they? Were there any ball knowers out there that called for that? So, like, you know, there's some ball knowingness that goes into it, but at the same time, let's just have fun with it, man. I mean, truly, hell, I had 7 teams winning 10 games or more last year. That was an outrageous pick. I can't believe people are still listening to this show after I made those picks. Thank goodness you are. Some of you might have forgotten that. You're like, oh, wow, okay, I'm actually going to tune out now. But I don't have 7 teams winning 10 games this year. I can tell you that. I got a little bit more conservative or a little bit more realistic, really. But again, we're going to talk all that, much more, lock-in predictions. Going to be a good time. Bear, before we get to that place, though, and it's funny, I shouldn't even be saying this, but we had this guy comment on YouTube essentially saying, like, stop with all the gambling content. Don't stop pushing so much gambling content. My friend, I fear I have to tell you, the gambling content is only going to increase thanks to our friends over at FanDuel. So either get on and get with the program or get it moving, because that's exactly where we are going to start, Bear. Again, latest odds to win the SEC championship are out. I want to start with that. And again, if you guys want to see all of the odds, head over to FanDuel.com/SECU. Go ahead and place that bet. Get that $250 deposit bonus when you win that first $5 bet. The favorites, Bear, look as this, as you would expect, Texas plus 280, Georgia plus 290. So Texas is the favorite slightly to win the SEC title. Bama coming in at plus 480, LSU at plus 600. At the bottom of the barrel, for example, you got Vandy, Mississippi State, and Kentucky plus 30,000. Some of your long shots that people have talked about, Florida's plus 1,800, Auburn plus 2,000, South Carolina all the way at plus 3,000. Kind of interesting. Mizzou at a plus 8,000. When you look at the odds, best bets to win the SEC title, I want to talk best bets with you, long shot bets. My best bets. And again, these are going to be the favorites. This kind of goes back to the conversation, Bear, you and I had. I believe Dave had it with us as well. How many teams do you realistically think can actually win the SEC championship?
Right.
Not get there, but win it. So for me, when I talk best bet, it's kind of a balance of, you want to find the value, but I think that's what more so your long shot bet is for. Bear, I'm going to be placing 2 bets when it comes to best bets to win the SEC title. I do think it's worth it to throw money on Texas plus 280 as the favorite. I do. I think there's a decent chance. Creme de la creme, the cream just rises to the top. They kind of remind me of Ohio State last year. You could argue it's the best roster in all of college football, certainly one of the best. I do think there is a chance that chalk wins out in this. But we're going to get there, Bear. And if you've been paying attention the last few weeks or the last month or so, you know that I'm high on the Alabama Crimson Tide. And so I'm going to throw a bet on Bama plus 480. Those are the 2 for me specifically. I think something to keep in mind here, not saying it'd be a bad bet, Bear, if you're going this way, but if you look back at the history, very rarely have we had repeat SEC champions. It has not happened a ton. So for me, I'm staying away from Georgia plus 290. Again, if you've been paying attention since SEC Media Days, and this hasn't changed for me to this point, Texas and Alabama are the 2 teams I'm picking to go to the SEC title game. So I'm going to throw a bet on each for them to win the SEC title. So those are my best bets, Bear. I mean, I would assume yours are going to come from the favorites as well. Who do you like when you look at the odds?
We can just stay with Bama. I think that's a very easy one, a plus 480. Keep in mind that, again, you look at this roster top to bottom. Chris, where's the question mark? It's at the most important position, but also when you don't have as many questions surrounding the rest of the roster. Number 1 defensive backfield in all of college football. One of the best interior pass rushes. One of the better wide receiver rooms in the sport. A very good rushing attack. A solid offensive line. The addition of Ryan Grubb. I'm not asking Ty Simpson to go out there and replace what would be the next Tua Tagovailoa. I'm asking him to be A.J. McCarron, Greg McElroy. Like those are 2 quarterbacks that, whether or not you like them as pros, that's not what the game is about. It's all about the college sport, and they won national titles, 3 total. And I think that the roster, despite having its small areas of where you lose a guy, maybe you don't have that same pedigree, it feels eerily similar to 2009, 2012, 2011, where quarterback play needs to be efficient, doesn't need to be elite, doesn't need to be all world. You don't need him to single-handedly win you football games. It's a blessing to do so, but you'll take what you'll take, and you'll be okay with sitting there and finding your way to Atlanta with an average quarterback at the helm. And Alabama, 90% of the time when it's the average quarterback, they do a pretty good job of hoisting up the national title. I am going to go with Georgia, though. That's my other bet at plus 290. I don't think, and I completely disagree with you when you said last week, we're kind of sleeping on Georgia. Nobody is sleeping on Georgia. The dogs are wide awake in the eyes of all of those that know this sport, that break down the sport, that talk about this for a living, because if there is a standard out in Athens. And to be completely transparent, Chris, they didn't have that standard last year. on so many different levels. It was from the off-field incidents, from the start of training, from the start of fall camp, that led to the on-field insufficient execution at wide receiver, at the defensive line spot, what you got at the offensive line. They weren't the bullies of the Athens GA level. Like, they weren't what we know in the SEC. And I don't know if they're going to get fully back there this year. But I'll tell you what, I like the moves that Kirby did this offseason. I like their recruiting class. I think that having Christian Miller be that enforcer at the nose tackle spot is going to do wonders for your team. I love Ella Meduzzi coming on in from Army. I think that that is the breakout player of the SEC potentially this season. The wide receiver room, I think, is going to be better because of it has to be. It can't be much worse. You led the country in drops. And no offense to Carson Beck. Carson Beck, I think, did everything that he could at times to lead his team to back-to-back double-digit win seasons and a college football playoff appearance. Because he did. But there's something about a old-school blue-collar Southern Georgia boy just leading the charge for a Kirby Smart team that stands out. That just makes them feel like that you have a little bit more buy-in to it. Whether it's a Stetson Bennett who had to go through the trials and tribulations to walk onto the program and they get a scholarship, or whether it be back to the days of Aaron Murray when he was running the show, or back to when you had Jake Fromm at the helm and they went to a national title. Like, that style of quarterback just sits in my brain, and Gunnar Stockton fits the bill. And just something about a look that you don't want to buy too much into. But, like, you've seen this story before where, hey, the style of quarterback, this type of roster we got, this is the mentality we play with. I trust them to be at least 10 plus wins. I trust them to be in the hunt all the way down in November for the college football playoff. They're going to be playing in Atlanta the week before for a shot to beat Georgia Tech. They might as well just park camp there if everything goes according to plan.
Keep the RV parked out there by Mercedes-Benz if you're a dog fan. Maybe I'm just gaslighting myself, Bear, when it comes to the Georgia being slept on. I feel like I'm sleeping on them, so maybe I'm just talking.
You don't have them in your best bets, so yeah.
I know. I think I'm talking to myself when it comes to the Georgia disrespect. I think that's me. I might as well be picking the dogs, go 7-5.
Right.
Bear, let's talk long shot bets. Get a little weird with this one. I'm going to get weird with you. The first one's not as long shot. LSU plus 600. I mean, that's of the favorites. They are the long shot. It's not a crazy long shot, but I felt like I do want to sprinkle a little bit on it because I do think LSU, if things click, I absolutely think at their ceiling could win an SEC title. These next two, I'm pretty drunk for. These are drunk bets. These are not, we're getting super long shotty here. Texas A&M plus 1,500 and Oklahoma plus 2,200. Do I think either's going to happen? Absolutely not. But if you're asking me to make a long shot bet, a real long shot bet, crazy town bet, absolutely drunk at 3 a.m. at Innisfree bet, or any other SEC bar for that matter, A&M plus 1,500, Oklahoma plus 2,200. I mean, I like the A&M roster. I do. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I do like the roster. Heck, they almost got to Atlanta last year. And Oklahoma, I'm just like, what if John Mateer is the truth? Like, what if John Mateer wins a Heisman Trophy like people are picking him to do? Well, then Oklahoma might be in Atlanta, and they might have a shot to win the game if they get there. So, yeah, those are super long shotty, Bear. But for the purpose of the exercise, why not? Let's get a little funky. Let's get a little weird.
I got 3. Number 1's Florida. And I got Florida at plus 1,800. Bottom line, we don't spend enough time talking about the rest of the roster. Our sole focus has been on DJ Lagway. And I get it. It's because of when he's healthy, he may end up being the best quarterback in college football this year. I don't think that that's too outlandish to say based off of the skill set and the way that he plays the sport and the way I've watched him up close and in person. But they are more than just DJ Lagway. Their offensive line is, in my opinion, one of the most improved units in college football just for veteranship. They have 2 potential All-Americans on the right side with Slaughter and then with Austin Barber. Left side, my apologies. They have one of the best running back rooms in college football that nobody talks about. It's headlined by Jaden Baugh, who I think is going to have a season to remember. Wide receivers, I spend a lot of time talking about Dallas Wilson, but shame on me for not mentioning the other Wilson. Trey, he is back, or Eugene, if you want to call him that. He has an E for excellent route running in his name because that's what he is. And then you throw in Ada Mizell. You throw in the other young guys like Vernell Brown and Nashawn Montgomery. They brought in J. Michael Sturdivant from UCLA. And defensively, there were too many cooks in the kitchen last year. Like, there were too much bumping into each other and colliding. And look at that. Now you got the antipasto on the floor, which is a sin in itself. And you don't have that anymore because Austin Armstrong said, I'm going to go to the Big 12. I'm going to become the DC for Houston. You can run the show now the way that you see fit, Ron Roberts. This is your team. And they have some really good pieces that got experience last year stepping on up. So if they have DJ Lagway, this to me feels like a 10-2 team at peak, maybe making a run to the college football playoff. If not, there is still a really fun 7-5 roster that can at least make things interesting for you if Lagway's hurt. So, like, you got to throw a little bit of money on them. I think you have to throw a little bit of money on Auburn. Listen, I know how crazy I am when I talk negatively about Auburn. But see, Barners, this is where I say I don't hate you because I like your roster. Like top to bottom, nobody is questioning the roster here. Great defense, exceptional cornerback play with Lee coming on back. He, in my opinion, is going to be one of the all SEC first-team corners if he plays at the par. Keldrick Falk is back. The offensive line is really well put together. That wide receiver room may be the best in the country. It truly might because of we haven't seen Perry Thompson at his peak. We haven't seen Malcolm Simmons at his peak. He is back at practice right now, so it's another blessing in disguise, I guess, for the Tigers. Eric Singleton comes on in. They have not had a weapon like him since Hugh Freeze got to campus. They haven't. You have Cam Coleman. This is the year that you have to hit 1,000 yards at the receiver spot. You have to. It all comes down to the quarterback, and it all comes down to the head coach. That's what this comes down to. If you end up shutting me in most of the country that has turned its back on what's going on the Plains in week 1 down on the Brazos with a 21-point victory over Baylor, people are going to be buying stock. And plus 2,200 right now, like if things just go their way, simply, Chris, they have 2 of the biggest rivalry games at home this year against Georgia and Alabama. The voodoo of Jordan Hare is going to seep on through at one point this season. So if it's one of those games, okay, does this mean that now they're in the running for the last week? Hey, don't look now. Auburn, they win the Iron Bowl. They're going to Atlanta. Like it's too good of money. And it all comes down to Jackson Arnold. The reports, very hit and miss right now. But you know what? Maybe there's a point where you get to the Oklahoma game and it's like, what are we seeing in this kid that is so special? I don't know, but they couldn't find it at Oklahoma, and they certainly found it down in the likes of the Plains of Auburn. And then last but certainly not least, I'd be foolish if I don't take this bet. It's stupid if I don't take this bet. Plus 8,000 for the Mizzou Tigers to come out of nowhere and just shock the college football world. You're going to doubt Eli Drinkwitz again? Like, are we really? We're at the point with like him and Lane Kiffin. There's 2 things I know. Lane Kiffin knows quarterback play. So just let him work with whoever comes in and trust you're going to get a stud. And then if you want to doubt Eli Drinkwitz, by all means, cash your ticket to have a slice of humble pie at the end of the season. I love the defense. I think that you're going to have 2 or 3 players that really break on out. Ahmad Hardy back there. Really interesting team. Like, the last thing I'm going to do is doubt Eli Drinkwitz in a year where nobody is talking about him after being the only team in the SEC to beat the Big Ten opponent. Like that, like I'm not going to doubt the dude. I'm sorry. I'm not. Tennessee went 10-2 last year. Alabama went 9-3, lost to a Big Ten team. South Carolina went 9-3, lost to a Big Ten team. They went 9-3. They beat the Big Ten team. Like, I'm not doubting Drink this year. Bo Pabula comes on in, solid offensive line. Corey Batoon gets a nice little pay upgrade. I think they're in a good spot to at least make this thing interesting, especially that 6-game stretch at home. Like to begin the year, not leaving until October 18th. Like that changes things. And that number is going to go massively down, closer towards like the 2,200 range if they're sitting at 5-1 before they play Auburn.
What a turn for Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers if they went from the doghouse to the penthouse of not making the postseason to winning the SEC title. What's fascinating about the Auburn pick, though, Bear, think about the years Auburn has won significantly. And think about probably what the odds were going into those seasons. Like, I mean, some of their historically best seasons ever. What was it? Was it 2010 when they, I mean, granted, they had Cam Newton, but what I think the year before they won like 3 games. And then they won the national championship.
4-8, I think they were.
Yeah. Something crazy though. Like, yeah, I mean, it'd be
think
kind
about
of
this.
kind of on brand for Auburn.
3-9 the year that they fired Hugh Freeze. I mean, they fired Gene Chizik.
Right.
First year Gus Malzahn when they went to the national championship and the greatest play in college football history.
Yeah, crazy. Just absolutely crazy. Bear, let's move into odds to make the college football playoff. And again, guys, I highly suggest you head over to FanDuel.com, FanDuel.com/SECU. Place your bets on this. These are the latest odds from FanDuel. Once again, if you want to see full odds, go over to FanDuel because every single team in the SEC, yes, Bear, including Arkansas, including Vandy, including Mississippi State, they've all got odds you can bet on in regards to the college football playoff. Not all of them have yes and no. For example, Arkansas, yes is plus 1,800. You can't bet on a no, Bear, because it's so unlikely the Hogs go that I don't think they could set a number for that, unfortunately. Anyways, some of the favorites, as you would expect, Texas, yes, minus 310. Georgia is yes, minus 290. Let's see. Alabama, yes, minus 184. LSU, yes, plus 114. Kind of interesting. The bigger long shots here, you've got Mississippi State, yes, plus 8,000. Kentucky, yes, plus 4,000. Interesting that Mississippi State has the lowest odds. Vandy, yes, plus 3,500, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Bear, let's talk best bets to make or miss the college football playoff. For me, because here I'm trying to find some value. So believe it or not, I didn't go Georgia. I didn't go Texas because, again, those are such heavy favorites that I kind of want to stay away. So I want to try to find a balance of value, but I feel like these are best bets that I'm locking in. LSU at yes, plus 114. I understand they open up with Clemson. I understand the schedule. And I think if there's a team that's in that top four that we feel like is the top tier here that is going to disappoint for whatever reason, I feel like it very well may be LSU. That being said, it is LSU. That being said, though, I'm pushing my chips in. I do think LSU is going to go at minimum 10-2. Whether they beat Clemson or not, to be totally honest with you, whether they beat Clemson or not, I think they're going to go 10-2, find their way to the playoff. The yes, plus 114. I got Tennessee, no, minus 400. Only thing that gives me hesitation on this is that the schedule is so workable. We're going to get into records, and my record for the Vols, Bear, did not match the way I've been talking about them and their quarterback. I'll just put it that way. No, minus 400. Again, I know I just said I'm looking for value, but I just feel really confident that Tennessee, I didn't think they were a playoff team with Nico. I definitely don't think they're a playoff team with Joey Aguilar, all due respect. I just don't think their ceiling is getting to the playoffs. So give me no, minus 400. And then Alabama, again, I'm very high on the Crimson Tide. Give me yes, minus 184. I feel really, really confident. Even if my pick doesn't come right, they're not in Atlanta for the SEC title. I do think they are going to be in the playoff in a year in which Kalen DeBoer has to get the Crimson Tide to the playoff, or else is kind of the feeling. So those three for me, Bear. LSU, yes, plus 114. Tennessee, no, minus 400. Bama, yes, minus 184. My best bets in regards to the playoff going into kick.
Number one for me is Georgia at plus 290. I mean, minus 290. Again, it's Georgia. If you really want to doubt them, like where are the three losses that you can see? Because I can see two for certain. Bama, Texas. I think if the Georgia Tech game was at Bobby Dodd Stadium, I would throw that one in. I maybe could even see the loss coming to Florida in Jacksonville, but there's a lot of what ifs there. So
how about at Auburn, Jordan Hare?
Again, it all comes
long
down to Jackson Arnold. It all comes down to Jackson Arnold.
That Auburn voodoo. That Auburn voodoo.
But I just think that you're going to be 10-2. 10-2 gets you in the playoffs, so that's not a worry for me. I agree with you with Alabama, minus 184. Look, they have the most complete roster, in my opinion, in the conference. And this is a year where, no, Kalen DeBoer's not getting fired. Like he could go 8-4 and they still will not pay the luxury buyout to let him go. But at this point, he is on borrowed time. And there is a certain stipulation. Like we have a friend, Tyler McComas, that came on and said, if 9-3 doesn't happen in Norman, there will be conversations about Brent Venables getting fired. Even with that schedule, it's kind of the same way I feel about Alabama next year. If you don't make the playoff next year, not 9-3, 10-2. If you don't make the playoff next year, you're fired. Like that's where I feel if you don't make it this year. So I think that they do make it this year. And again, I think that you talk about Kalen DeBoer. He's top 10 coach in college football. I think people forget about the vast luxuries and the vast lifestyle and pressure he was under last season to live up to the expectations of replacing Nick Saban. It's not there anymore. So I don't worry about that. And then guys, this isn't personal. I swear it isn't. But until I see it, I'm going to believe that Texas A&M is going to drop a game that they shouldn't. And so I got to put them in the no, minus 310. Like, I think that A&M could be really interesting this year. They may even be my dark horse to win the conference. But, like, right now, I still am in that I'll believe it when I see it mode. I've been burned so many times by A&M in the past. 8-4, 9-3. If it's 9-3, but you lose to Notre Dame, we can have a conversation. But if it's 9-3 with 3 conference losses and one being like to Mississippi State or one being like to Arkansas on the road, that's not good enough for me. I'm sorry, it isn't. So that's an easy one for me when I look at it. Just overall, give me the minus 310. Give me the the minus 310 on the Aggies missed the playoff.
I like it, Bear. Let's talk some long shot bets. Again, let's get a little funky and have some fun with these long shot bets to make or miss, whatever you prefer, the college football playoff. My first one, I'm going to go with the team you just talked about, the Missouri Tigers. Yes, plus 730. A lot of this has to do with the schedule. Like you look at it, and again, Mizzou is a team that right now, Bear, I've got going 8-4. I don't think it's crazy to think they could win 2 more games, though. Like, that schedule is so workable. It's so workable that if Bo Pribula or Sam Horn, whoever it is, pans out and is the next dude for them, they find some big-time weapons on the outside. If Ahmad Hardy carries the running game and he's, as advertised, and the defense under Corey Batoon takes the next step. Here's the thing, too, Bear, with them. I mean, with the front half of their schedule set up the way it is, you got the big game against South Carolina in week 4, but, like, they're going to have time to get it going and figure it out by the time Alabama comes to town on October the 11th. Like you said, I mean, they don't leave Como till the 18th of October. So, long shot, but Mizzou, yes, plus 730. Oklahoma, yes, plus 490. Again, long shot odds, but what if John Mateer is that dude going to sprinkle a little bit on the Sooners? And then Cole, Georgia, no, plus 225. This is a long shot. I'm not saying it's happening. It is a long shot. Here's the thing that would be going against you in this bet, though, Bear. You're essentially banking on Georgia not only losing a home game, but probably losing multiple of them.
Yeah.
And they have not lost a home game, period, since 2019. I can't even tell you the last time they lost multiple home games in a single season. So the only other path, they're losing either to Bama or Texas at home. And they'd probably have to drop multiple, let's say, like to an Auburn, Florida, maybe Georgia Tech upends them in the final game. So dogs going 9-3, bit of a long shot. But again, these are long shot bets. So Georgia, no, plus 225. Certainly not one of my favorites, but having some fun with the long shots. Like I told you, I think I'm sleeping on the dogs. How dare I disrespect the dogs the way I've been doing? So long shot bets for the Bear.
Well, okay, if you're gonna go crazy, let's double down, because I have this team finishing 11-1 and going to the SEC title game. But what if Arch isn't the guy? Give me Texas. Absolutely not make the playoffs at plus 235. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, think about this for a second. It's not just Arch. Like, what if we are overselling ourselves and the rest of the roster? Yeah, we heard about Ryan Wingo this past weekend having a great scrimmage, looks the part, feels like that he is taking the next step forward. But what about if the offensive line is still just not able to gel? It's 4 new starters. What if the defense, you added in Manad Watson on the interior? What if it's him and a bunch of scrubs, and the run defensive last season that was able to hold opponents to under 100 yards now is giving up 125? And now you need Arch Manning to be the guy and step on up and have to deliver in critical moments. On the road to the Swamp, home against Texas A&M, on the road against Georgia, Ohio State week 1. Like, I don't think it's possible, but like if 9-3 does show up, you are on the fringe of making the playoff. You are. So I think it's facetious of me not to at least consider it because of all the new that's in Austin.
I will say, Bear, like, you look at their schedule, 9-3 could happen.
It could easily
You could lose to Ohio State. You got Red River. You got to go to Florida. You got to go to Georgia. You have the rivalry game with A&M. Like, there's enough pitfalls there where it could happen. Even if you're not picking it, if you're a Texas fan and you think that's crazy, like, for all we talk about Texas's schedule, like, there's some pitfalls here. Like, there definitely are some traps here that could happen. No doubt.
And the crazy part is there's a lot of games that you feel like you're confident in right now to where
who knows?
You like the Arkansas game, perfect example. It's right before A&M. hey, maybe this is Taylor Green's breakout moment. Like Arkansas fans,
Don't let Diego Pavia come into Austin and get
Arkansas
weird.
fans openly say all the time, we hate Texas. Sam Pittman said, it feels like that we hate Texas more than we like our team. Like, that's their Super Bowl. Like, you're telling me that if everything goes according to plan on one Saturday in the fall of the SEC, there can't be an upset? So, yeah, I'm absolutely taking that one. I know that you're not high on them. I am. I think he can carry this team to a college football playoff appearance. I think that one of the wide receivers is going to break on out. And they love me out in Columbia. So War Chickens Unite. I'm taking plus 490 with South Carolina. Lenore Sellers is going to have to be the dude because the problem is that that top 20 defense from last season is not going to be top 20 this year. It still could be really good with all the new pieces that you added on in for the portal and from the recruiting cycle, but it's not going to be a top 20 defense. So now you need your offense to counteract that by having a balanced approach with the rushing attack and more consistency in the passing game. Mike Shula, corner reports, everyone that I've spoken to, seems to be bringing the best version of Lenore Sellers out in the passing attack. Now, can you have that one wide receiver that proves I'm the dude? It could be a freshman. It could be Malik. It could be Nick Harbor. It could be Mazeo Bennett. But still, you have anybody. I mean, this team at 9-3, they may have, in my opinion, the best chance to get in because if their loss is to Clemson and Clemson goes on this run and they're undefeated or they only lose one game and they win the ACC, you're going to take that into consideration depending on what the score is. So plus 490 for me is very much an easy bet. And then I'm throwing down money on plus 198 of Ole Miss to make the college football playoff. And the reason I say that is because of Lane Kiffin in a year where there are no expectations, where there are no things to be pushed against him, where people are not saying it's Ole Miss, it's the swan song, it's the last dance, all of this NFL talent. And he ends up going 10-3 with no expectations. The dude is free to feel however he wants and do whatever he wants. And to me, that just says, I'm going to be more explosive offensively. I'm going to be more progressive downfield. I'm going to be more aggressive with my play calling and watch them end up going like 10-2 and being on the fringe of making the SEC title game. They get 2 or 3 upset wins. And there we go. We put them in the playoff.
Those odds, when you think about it for Ole Miss, Bear, they are really short in comparison to the way people have talked about Ole Miss this offseason. I feel like that's a team flying under the radar that Vegas thinks pretty highly of them, thinks they got a pretty decent shot to make the playoff. So, guys, like I mentioned, we're going to be talking gambling all college football season long, all football season, all throughout the year. Our friends over at FanDuel, a big reason why. So, again, either get with the program or get off. And with that being said, guys, of course, I do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel because, as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. The SEC Unfiltered Tour that said this on the road weekly is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Guys, quick reminder, Bear, on Tuesday, August 26th, it is FanDuel Futures Day, a new holiday for football fans. It is 24 hours of deals on all of your football season predictions. So take a flyer on the MVP race. Bear, who's your MVP pick? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Josh Allen once again.
All right. We'll crown your champion in August as well. Bear, who's winning the Super Bowl?
I'm going Buffalo Bills. Fully convinced that this is the year it finally happens.
Or, guys, you can pick those if you want. Pick your own, or you can parlay your division winner dark horses as well. Just make sure you mark your calendars because this is your day for your hunches, your hot takes, your calls, and your odds. That sounds like Bear's favorite holiday, honestly. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now because Futures Day is one day and one day only. Once again, that's August 26th. FanDuel Futures Day. Make sure when you go, you sign up over at FanDuel.com/SECU to get that $250 deposit bonus when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, FanDuel.com/SECU to get your deposit bonus today. FanDuel, play your game. There, that being said, let's keep it moving. A little bit of rapid fire here. Again, we talked the gambling side of things, which is always a lot of fun. Whether you want to call this superlatives, you want to call this, I don't know, award show, whatever it might be. Again, we're going to kind of rapid fire here, but I'm going to hit you with a bunch of different ones. Let's talk SEC Player of the Year. Who wins SEC Player of the Year in your mind? Again, there's a lot of different directions you can go here, but who's your pick? Who at the end of the year will be crowned SEC Player of the Year? Which, by the way, I think this is a different conversation, like who's the best player in the conference, because you and I both know the best player doesn't always win this award.
To me, it comes down to which is going to be the quarterback from the Tier 2 roster that carries you to the college football playoff. Like that to me is what decides this, because you expect this from a Garrett Nussmeier. You expect this from, I'd even go like a Gunnar Stockton per se. There's some players at Alabama, like a Ryan Williams, that you would expect to have this kind of season. I'm going to go with the kid out in Columbia, South Carolina. I think that everyone right now is starting to sell their stock on South Carolina. So cool. I'll buy it low. I will cash on in November. I'll sit here on a high mountaintop where the War Chickens are punching their ticket to the college football playoff. And largely it's due to the fact of who they have a quarterback. Like, no, it is wrong to compare him to Cam Newton. And so we're not going to do that. We're not going to say that 16-1 have anything to have anything close in common. We're not going to do that. What we are going to do is talk about just the impact of having a quarterback that stands at that size with that open field speed and that athleticism. We are going to talk about that. Cam Newton single-handedly was able to win games and put Auburn in a position where it didn't matter what level of competition was staring him down the face, what kind of defense he was going up against. He made things happen. And because of that, it was sensational. They went undefeated. They went to the national championship. He won a Heisman Trophy, and it was unanimous. And in my opinion, it was the single greatest season of college football. I don't think we will see that from Lenore Sellers this year. What I do think we will see is this kid embracing being a passer, taking the next necessary jumps forward to build that rapport in the passing game, understanding his elements, not being afraid to tuck and run, single-handedly keeping drives alive behind the line of scrimmage, playing backyard football that gives South Carolina a shot in every single game. And if they're a fringe college football playoff team, or if they're in the college football playoff, it's because of Lenore Sellers got them there. If you do that with how much turnover and roster change has come to Columbia this offseason, how much people are sleeping on the Gamecocks going into this year, you deserve an accolade. In my opinion, you are potentially the best player in the conference. You win the best player award. No questions asked.
Yeah, he's going to be must-see TV every week. There is absolutely no question. There's going to be more than a couple weeks that he puts that team on his back and does some really special things. I like the pick, Bear. I am going Garrett Nussmeier at LSU, the only returning 4,000-yard passer in college football, which I thought was really interesting. I just think Nuss with the weapons, again, I don't even have him going to the SEC title game, but I think he's just going to put up ridiculous numbers. You took a quarterback. I took a quarterback. I think this is a quarterback award. I mean, there's a part of me that I'm like, well, if I've got Texas in the SEC title game, like I just think if Arch Manning, he's got so much hype and hoopla, it kind of feels like to me, Bear, that we're going to find every reason to give him that award. But I'm going to go a different route and go Nuss. I think Nuss is just going to put up crazy numbers with that receiving core he's got. Will they be able to run the football and have some balance? But there's just no way they run it as poorly as they did last year, right? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. They're going to be able to run it a little bit at least. I think it's going to free up Nuss a little bit. He'll cut down on the turnovers. I think he's going to have a big, big, big year for them. SEC Coach of the Year, Bear, I'm going to go with this one real quick. Kalen DeBoer, Alabama. Again, I got the Crimson Tide winning the SEC championship. I'm just bullish on Bama. I'm buying all that stock. I'm buying them low right now. I'm buying into Ty Simpson. I'm buying into certainly the rest of the roster. I think Kalen DeBoer, for as much criticism as even I gave him, I think Kalen DeBoer will remind us he's a pretty darn good coach this year. I do. I think I was even a little bit too hard on DeBoer last year when it's like, you do have to keep in mind it's year one. You're changing it. Like, he was in such a difficult position, as we know, because taking over for Saban, it's like you want to change the culture to your own. But at the same time, I mean, what they've been doing has been working pretty well. So, like, you want to put your stamp on it. But then again, you're kind of, I think there's probably going to be, I think he's going to be freed up a little bit. There's not as much craziness going around now. It's just, hey, let's just get back to football and doing the things we're supposed to be doing. And I think Kalen DeBoer reminds us how good of a coach he is. So I'm going to go Kalen DeBoer, Bama, to win SEC Coach of the Year.
I want to be different, but I can't. Because again, if you go 11-1, or if you're even 10-2 and you're in the playoff after last season, Kalen DeBoer is the right answer. Like it is. And I think that this offense is going to rank top 15 in almost every single category, from passing to rushing yards to third down efficiency to total yards per game, explosive plays. And that's a testament to Kalen DeBoer saying, I need to hire back Ryan Grubb. This is a priority for me to be successful. And we have a standard that we have to accomplish. I think that's a big reason why you believe that even though Ty Simpson is going into year 3 and he has less than 200 snaps underneath his belt, you are buying into him figuring things out, because it's just what Kalen DeBoer's entire offseason mantra was. Let's go back to the basics and let's build this thing the right way. Last season, he was in a lose-lose situation. If you don't come in and you emulate exactly what Nick Saban is, you're changing the culture and you're pissing off a lot of people. If you change the culture too much and it doesn't work, well, now they're saying that you're no longer the guy. And yet still, we forget about you. You marched into Death Valley, just like Nick Saban did every single year, and put belt to ass against LSU. Up until the third quarter, you were throttling, just molly-whopping Georgia in your backyard. You had a phenomenal game plan against all the other opponents besides one major team on the road and a team that was good enough to go to the college football playoff, which was Tennessee. So it's like we put all these things on Kalen DeBoer for being an overrated coach or a guy that has in over his head because he's never been in the SEC, but he's had back-to-back top 5 recruiting classes. He had a top 10 recruiting class this offseason. He was able to retain countless pieces to this roster that remind me so much of Ohio State and what they did last season on, hey, we have a foundation. You guys be the guys. You carry us to the national championship. That's what it feels like. And I think that they're 11-1. I think that they're in the playoff. I think that they can win the SEC. You do all those things. You cross off every single one of those boxes, and you win back the good graces of the folks down in Tuscaloosa. The award is yours. Like, I could have been bold and different, but death, taxes, Alabama getting to 11-1. You win the award.
Bear, I'd agree. Bear, who's the best overall football player in the SEC? Says Cole Thompson.
I've been saying it for a while. I'm going to continue to say it because if I don't care that you don't like defensive players, the best one resides.
I like defensive players. Come on now.
Fans out there.
Oh, okay. I'm like, come on now.
Quarterback.
Come on now.
It's Anthony Hill at the University of Texas. This is far and away, in my opinion, the top 3 player in college football. He may end up being the best defensive player in college football this year. Keep in mind that last season, while sitting as the middle linebacker, green dot in the helmet and taking all the orders, finished top 15 in tackles for losses, finished with 16.5. He also finished top 25 in total tackles. And just to throw on for good measure, he had 8 sacks. He had 4 forced fumbles. He also had 1 interception, and he nearly ran it back for a touchdown. Anthony Hill does everything. Like, he is literally what I would consider to be the boogeyman of a defense. He comes on in and he inflicts nightmares and terrors and fears in the brains of quarterbacks and realizes, I'm coming after you. Good luck slowing me down. You can't. It's a matter of when, not if, Anthony Hill is going to ruin your day. That's what it's been for the last year and a half since he arrived in Austin. He's grown. He's matured. He's gotten more leaner. Chris, they know how talented of a player this kid is. Like, everyone in Austin talks about him as one of the pioneers and one of the overall fixtures of what this team is supposed to be. But at the national perspective, we don't talk about linebackers. We don't talk about really anybody outside of edge players on the defense. And he does a little bit of everything. He can play in coverage. He can blitz. He can defend the run. He's a great open field tackler. All of the things that you want when it comes to a can't miss player. And I think that he is the safest bet for being the best player in the conference. I know what I'm getting daily. I know what I'm getting game by game. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You want to argue with me on somebody being better? Show me the consistency of their stat line and what they did last season compared to Anthony Hill, and then we can have a conversation. Because in my opinion, if I'm just going for consistent play, nobody's doing it better than Agent Zero down in Austin.
I'm going to go a little bit different here, Bear. Give me Lenora Sellers.
How dare you?
Carolina. Pound for pound, best football player in the conference. Does things. And I mean, listen, if you want to argue he's not the best, okay. He's the freakiest, no pause football player in the conference. He just does things that you can't coach. You can't teach. Like you shouldn't be able to move the way he does at his size, shedding tacklers the way he does. You shouldn't be able to do it. And he doesn't. So I think pound for pound, just overall, the best football player in the conference. And I think he'll show that this year. I think he's going to have to be exceptional. It doesn't mean he's perfect. Doesn't mean he's perfect. And I like the Ant Hill pick a lot. I like Colin Simmons on Texas's defense also. Lenora Sellers is just a freak, man. He's a flat-out freak. And I know you agree with that, obviously.
Yeah, I haven't been an SEC player of the year.
Right,
of course
exactly. Lot of good options for a lot of these different accolades, if you will. SEC's breakout player this season, Bear. Again, give me all the Bama stock because I'm going Ty Simpson. I think Ty Simpson, call it a hunch, call it whatever it might be. The guy's got 37 career passes. I think he's going to be a perfect fit in what Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer want to do offensively. And again, he's just got so many weapons around him that are going to make his life really, really easy. If he can just get the football to his playmakers, it's going to make his stat line look really good. I think Ty Simpson is going to be a top 5 quarterback in this league, maybe a top 3 quarterback in this league. Ty Simpson, my breakout player.
Can I give 2? Because I've already given 1 that I always talk
That's fine,
about.
yeah.
All right, cool. So Austin Simmons is the main one because of, let's just be real. If I continue to
Love the Austin Simmons pick. That's an awesome
I
pick.
cannot stop buying the stock in him. Like, honestly.
And it's Lane Kiffin. They're going to score.
Like, the hottie toddy juice that comes coursing through my veins when I talk about 13 has reached a level to where I can almost say, I hate Alabama. I hate everything about the Crimson Tide. I should have gone to Ole Miss when I actually got an offer to go to the university there. Like that's how much I believe in Austin Simmons. I'm so high on this kid. It's a year in the system now as QB1. It's an entire offseason running through Lane Kiffin's drills. It's a relationship that he's already formed with guys like Caden Lee. And the way that people talk about him, like Traylon Way coming on in from West Virginia, or Jajon Stribling coming on in from Oklahoma State. They say that this kid is wired differently. And I think that all of these intangibles that you want in a quarterback, whether it be pocket awareness, IQ, physicality, mentality to win in certain stipulations, like we've only seen it in marginal situations, but we've seen it. And I'm getting that over a 12-game stretch fully healthy. Like, how do you not bet on Lane Kiffin and a quarterback with all the upside in the world and a knowledge of the offense? Because if he had the entire offseason to truly learn it because he wasn't playing football, how are you not sitting here and saying, watch this kid do what we're saying Arch Manning is going to do? Because that's what I'm saying right now, is that if you want to believe in Ole Miss this season, it's because if you believe that 13 is going to be very unlucky for opposing defenses. So that's my main pick. Honorable mention is Chris Hilton out at LSU. I think that we don't know enough about him because of the injuries. But what we do know is last season he caught 9 footballs. Chrissy had 3 touchdowns. So 33% of his catches last season were for scores. And he averaged 27.3 yards per catch. You give me 18 yards per catch. You give me 16 yards per catch. You give me 45 to 60 receptions. He's going to get at least 700 to 800 receiving yards. He's going to get in the end zone 9 or 10 times. Like, that's what you have. And the reports coming out of Baton Rouge is he's healthy, he's moving, he's grooving, and he's been a pain for the defensive backs. He has been the one standout that is not getting enough attention right now at the national stage. I'm telling you, I think Chris Hilton, I said it in my bold predictions video, he will be the leading receiver at LSU. The more I'm hearing, the more I'm buying into it.
I love how under the radar that Hilton pick is. I do. I like that a lot. Bear, best game of the 2025 season. And I'm going to throw this caveat on it too. I'm thinking when I say best game, and maybe this changes your answer. I don't know. You can tell me. I kind of think you can go to one game this season. You can only go to one. What game is it? Does that change the answer for you?
Yeah, a little bit, but I'm also gonna go different because of I know what you have, and I think that it's important that we bring up the other game.
I don't think mine would be the most popular answer though.
Mine might be the most popular answer. It's in Sanford Stadium. It's Alabama, Georgia.
I think the most popular answer, if you poll people, would be Georgia, Texas. I could
see that. But like
it's just the 2 brands. I feel like that'd be the most popular of people. There's no wrong answer here. I mean,
there's 2 main elements with this one. Number 1, Kirby Smart still can't beat Alabama in the regular season. It's not a Nick Saban thing. It is a Kirby thing, and it is an Alabama thing. Doesn't matter who is the head coach, who's the quarterback. Doesn't matter the style of offense you run. You haven't been able to beat Alabama. You just haven't. Now, in the national title game, yeah, good for you. No one's going to take that away from you. But in the regular season, Georgia has not gotten past Bama. You're also playing in your backyard, a place you don't lose. You've lost 1 game since 2019 to an unranked South Carolina roster. Like, you beat the big boys. You show up on the Saturday between the hedges for this game in this atmosphere as the red lights are flickering on and off. And it's your time to make a stand. It has to be, because of now it feels like you're back to the old Georgia ways. I already talked about blue-collar quarterback, the mentality about the type of players that you're going after in the portal. Like, we're kind of not focusing in. They have one of the better tight end rooms in college football once again. Like, we don't talk enough about Oscar Delp because he's not Brock Bowers, but Delp and Lawson Lucky and a couple of guys they have waiting in the wings, like they're loaded at one of the most key important spots for this offense to be successful. You welcome in Bama. Ty Simpson's going to be playing in his second major road test. And honestly, we don't know what Doak Campbell's going to be like week 1. So this may be his first major road test. Can you rattle him? Can you alter the game to put yourself in a position where you eliminate Alabama? Or better yet, can you do what you did to Bama last season, what Bama did to you last season in their backyard, and just turn it up and don't take your foot off the brakes and gas in the second half? Can you do that? Because again, in my opinion, until we see one of these two truly take on over, and it's like every single year they're walking away with a win. This is the premier game in the SEC, and it always will be. It's Alabama and it's Georgia because of these two have bad blood. These two have national championship expectations, and these two always know how to bring it. There's always a reason to talk about this game. This is the game that I would choose.
It's a good pick, Bear. Good chance we're there, by the way. Wink, wink. I am going with Alabama LSU in Tuscaloosa. Yeah. There's a game a year you and I have talked about. You talk with any Bama fan. There's a game a year where Bryant-Denny Stadium gets unhinged, and this will be the one. There's no question. It'll be similar to when we were there last year for the Bama-Georgia game, where it is on the schedule. I mean, this is still, in my opinion, and I think the opinion of probably most that no ball, dare I say, this is on the short list of the best games of the SEC football season. I think especially, too, when you look at the expectations for both this year, I think both have the mentality of college football playoff or bust. We understand with Alabama, Kalen DeBoer, year 2, LSU after the investment they made to improve the roster and give Brian Kelly every possible advantage. There's a chance LSU comes into this. I mean, both could come in with a loss or two, but, thinking about what LSU has early with the Clemson game and some tricky SEC showdowns, Alabama kind of same thing. So it's going to be a big one. I will not be surprised if College Game Day goes there. This is always on the short list of the best games of the season. Oh, by the way, LSU looking for revenge after getting just demolished last year in Death Valley when Jalen Milroe ran all over them. So Bama LSU for me, like I said, Bear, there's really not a bad answer here or a wrong answer. But again, if I can only go to one game this season, Alabama LSU, once again, wink, wink, if I can only go to one game this season. Most underrated game, Bear, of the 2025 season. I'll start with this one. I kind of tried to think outside of the box a little bit from the answer I even have, because I'm like, at some point when you start talking about something so much, it's not really underrated anymore, right? But I have to go with this one, man. It's Auburn, Oklahoma. I mean, this game, it's not going to be one of the headliners necessarily, like on people's short lists of best games of the season. But, dude, just pick your storyline, Bear. I mean, Jackson Arnold going back to Oklahoma, that alone is absolutely insane. What it means for Hugh Freeze and Brent Venables, what it means for both. This game could be a program-shifting game for the loser, It's probably going to have that much on it. Because I think both fan bases, anytime you get a game, Bear, where it's like both fan bases see that game as a must-win, that's when the games are really fun. Because it's like, okay, this is going to get really crazy one way or the other. So, yeah, Auburn and Oklahoma, big-time showdown in Norman. If they're undefeated, it's a compelling matchup. If one of them or both of them certainly has a loss, Bear, it might be an even more compelling matchup because it'll be desperation mode. So, a lot of good options. Again, for me, underrated game, Auburn and Oklahoma. That one's going to have a lot riding on it. And the loser of that one, buddy, is going to be behind the 8 ball, something serious for the 25 season.
So I want to go with one, but I talk about way too much. But let me ask you, have you looked at the weekend of October 11th?
Well, I've got the schedule right in front of me. So
it's one of the best weekends in college football. You got Georgia going to Auburn. You got South Carolina going to LSU. You have Ohio State traveling to Illinois that weekend.
Red River as well. Red River shootout.
You got Red River. You got Utah playing host to Arizona State. And I'm talking about this from the college football perspective. The two purple schools out in the Big 12 fighting for a 9-3 spot. You also got Alabama traveling to Missouri. You got NC State, Notre Dame, which I think could be a really intriguing matchup. I didn't mention the game because it's fallen so far down the pecking order that I feel like people are forgetting it exists. It's Texas A&M versus Florida. To me, this is such an interesting game because think about this from A&M's perspective. This is their last home game before a 3-game road stretch. Arkansas, LSU, and then you have to go face off against Missouri. They may be sitting undefeated at this point, depending on what happens with the Notre Dame game. And they may feel like that the culture has completely shifted, that we're not losing games that we know we're supposed to win. Like the Mississippi State game they played the week before. And then here comes Florida, and we don't really know what Florida is at this point. They may end up being one of the best teams in college football. They may end up having 2 losses, and they need this win to kind of save morale for the rest of the season. But they're going to be coming off of this game fresh off of playing Texas. So what if they beat Texas? How do you carry that mentality to the Lone Star State instead of welcoming them in your backyard? It's CJ Lagway, former guy that was almost committed to Texas A&M, nearly signed and stay close to the hometown state. It's Billy Napier facing a lot of pressure to get that signature road win. And also remember the other storyline. Last season, Marcel Reed is going throughout drills during the middle of the week, and it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll have a couple of play action in here, and we'll throw a couple of pieces in the script. And then here comes Friday night. Hey, 10, you're starting. Go out there and win. And he doesn't just win. He sets the tone so early that Texas A&M outgained Florida in the first half than Florida had yards in the entire game. It was a death sentence, slow drawl march to the finish line of mediocrity for Florida's defense that day. And I specifically remember getting on the live stream, and before I did, watching Billy Napier walk off the field, and there was a "Don't Drink and Drive" ad playing in the background with Billy Napier's face, and they were chugging their beers in the stands and then throwing them on the field because they couldn't stomach to look at the guy. How do you inflict that type of pain on Texas A&M in their backyard? It's a 12th man. It's going to be a loud atmosphere. It's going to be a game that I think a lot of people forget about because of all the other matchups. It's one that I'm buying stock into. This may end up being a reason why these two teams are sitting at 10-2. You have to have this win. You have to have this win, whether you're A&M or whether you're Florida. And by the way, this may end up being the most exciting running back game of the entire college football season. I get Lavian Moss versus Jaden Baugh. Like, I don't give a crap what DJ Lagway and Marcel Reed are doing with their arms. Just run the football. Like, bring back 1940s wishbone offenses with your running back rooms in this game. I'm all for it. Give me that in the military school.
I like the pick, Bear. I like the pick. That's off the beaten path. That's not one that I had thought of or I haven't seen anybody else talk about. So very good pick by you. Let's go most underrated team. The team that, needless to say, dare I define the word underrated, that you feel will surprise that not enough people are talking about and showing love to. Bear, I'm going to start with this one because Ole Miss is going to win 9 football games this year. And they're going to be on the verge of making the college football playoff. I think Ole Miss, they are my surprise team. I think especially the way they finished down the stretch. I've got them going into the month of November already with those 3 losses, but winning out, beating a South Carolina, beating a Florida, beating a Mississippi State. Very well could be on the verge making the college football playoff. Like you said, man, I like Lane Kiffin with not a lot of expectations. And again, if you even look at Vegas, they think we should be talking about Ole Miss more. I think we should be talking about Ole Miss more. I was very close to going Oklahoma, but again, at some point, damn, I'm like, I don't know that you're really underrated anymore because everybody's drinking that John Mateer Kool-Aid. I also think, too, Bear, what happened after Ole Miss, and I don't know if this is where you're going, but I don't think Mizzou is a bad pick for this because I think after what happened last year, everyone is kind of overcorrected on Ole Miss and Missouri, but especially Ole Miss, where it's like, oh, last year was your year. You didn't make the playoff. We're going to pretend like you don't exist now. So I think Ole Miss is still a damn good football team. I know about the questions they have on defense, but I trust Lane Kiffin. I trust Pete Golding. I agree with you. I think Austin Simmons is going to be a breakout star in the league, and I got Ole Miss. Again, I got to win 9 football games.
Can I ask this question, and then you can decide if they are underrated? Where does Texas A&M fall on this list?
I mean, listen, I think we've done a really good job. And I say we, I mean, just all of us as college football fans, media, fans, whatever else, right? Like just college football community. There's been the occasional, 10-2 A&M to the playoff pick. I think we've done a good job though of keeping it pretty tempered. Like I don't think people are getting that outlandish with A&M this year. So yeah, I mean, they're weird, right? Because you could say they're underrated from the standpoint of maybe they're not getting the love that equates to what they have roster-wise. But then again, A&M is perpetually overrated. So I mean, I don't go whatever direction you want to go. I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean,
because of there's just not a right answer when it comes to them, I'll go Missouri. I will go Missouri, and I think it's fair because of it's 21 new transfers, it's several new starting offensive linemen, it's 2 new starting running backs, it's 3 new weapons, it's a new quarterback, it's new everywhere. But who said new is bad? In the great words of Barney Stinson, new is always better. And that might not be a thing that you want in the world of football because if you want some continuity, but in my opinion, there were some issues last year with Mizzou's offense. Brady Cook had his moments of greatness. He also had his moments of blunderness. There was a lot of times that you weren't seeing quality play from Luther Burden and Theo Wease was having to step on up. There were times where it felt like that the secondary was getting torched left and right. And so it's a lot of new, but it's a lot of new that I like. I like Kevin Coleman as a good replacement for Luther Burden. Last season, over 800 receiving yards at Mississippi State. Nobody talked about him because of why would you talk about a guy who's on a 2-10 team? They added in a couple of really good upcoming freshmen. Daniel Lowe. I'm just not going to try and say his last name because I don't want to be embarrassed. He's making highlight grabs, and this looks like the future number 1 receiver of the offense. They have a good running back room with Ahmad Hardy. And I think Jamal Jones doesn't get enough a conversation with it either. I mean, my bad. Jamal Roberts doesn't get enough conversation with it either. I think that Brett Norfleet is single-handedly one of the most intimidating tight ends because of how do you guard a 6'7" dude that can run? Like, do you put a small guy on him that can keep up with the speed, or do you put a big guy on him that can't, but he has this physicality to win the one-on-one battles? Bo Pabula is a mobile quarterback. If he gets better as a passer, if he ends up staying in the pocket and building that rapport with the arm mentality, I mean, you're talking about a dual threat guy that maybe is a little bit better refined Trace McSorley. Like, if we're getting to that level, they're not going to be writing songs about him that go viral on the internet, but they are going to be talking about him as a 10-win quarterback out in Como. And again, what is the thing that I look at? Chris, if I have a new crop of players and I got to break them on in, I do not want to go on the road until they're ready. I got 6 games at home to determine everything about this roster. I don't know if they'll be in the playoff. I still have a ton of questions on how well is it all going to mesh together. But again, I didn't put them in my top 25. And I'm the Mizzou guy. Like, I'm underselling Mizzou going into this year. It's very much one of these things where everything goes according to plan. Eli Drinkowitz hit on everybody. And lo and behold, here we are, 10-2, college football playoff.
Yeah, you look at their schedule, Bear. Excuse me. You look at their schedule. I mean, you got the rivalry game against Kansas week 2. What are they? If you can beat South Carolina week 4, you're probably 5-0 going into the bye week against the matchup with Bama. Even if you don't beat Bama. At Auburn next, at Vandy after that. I mean, Bear, hypothetically, you could be going into the month of November at 7-1. And you're in the top 12 in the rankings at that point. I mean, that's not that crazy. And then 2 of your last 4 games are against Mississippi State and Arkansas. I mean, I'm probably speaking in a best case scenario here, but like,
it's a major best case.
It's not the most outlandish thing ever. So, again, go to FanDuel. It's your long shot odds if you want on Mizzou. But yeah, no, it's like I said, I think we overcorrected on both Ole Miss and Missouri. I think both are still going to be good teams. Most overrated team, Bear. I'll let you start with this one. Who's the most overrated team? The team that has the most expectations and is going to disappoint.
That's going to disappoint. I think it's Auburn. I do. I get it. And you know what? I know most Auburn fans have come down to the reality of, hey, we don't need to go to a college football playoff this year, and Hugh Freeze doesn't have to save his job. It's not we got to go 9-3, or even it's an 8-4 we'll take and we'll call it progress. I just have my doubts on the coach. That's what this comes down to, is do you have the right people leading the charge? Because at some point you can bring in all the right talent. You can have all the names that you want in the breadbasket. You can have all the pieces that you think are taking the next step forward. You can have all of the NIL money that funnels in funds to land a 4-star or land a 5-star that's on the verge of going to Alabama or Auburn. But if you're not developing them and they're not panning out, and the continuity of only inconsistent play on the field shows up on Saturdays, it comes back to coaching. That's what it comes back to. And I just do not believe in Hugh Freeze. I don't think we're going to see it this year. I don't think that we're going to see a lot of buy-in from the rest of the roster. I think that we are going to watch this team end up underwhelming, being in that 6-6, maybe 5-7 range. And I think that they're firing up the resume for Hugh Freeze. I think that they're calling around the college football landscape of who is the next guy to come on in and fix this program, because we're sick and tired of this crap. We are sick and tired of not. Auburn has not had a 10-win season in 6+ years. And I'm not saying it's normal. I'm not saying it's normal for them to get to 10+ wins every year, but like every 4 or 5, you expect, hey, 9-3, 10-2 is at least possible. I just don't think it's possible. And it's because of who's calling the shots. That's it.
Bear, the most overrated team in the SEC is South Carolina. And you know what? I'm fully prepared for what the comments are going to look like. I'm fully prepared I'm going to have to block some people on social media, especially when I drop my game-by-game predictions. I got the Gamecocks going 7-5 this year. I don't think that'd be a terrible year with the schedule and everything they lost. But you know, and I know, and we all know, the madness that is going to ensue for pretty well-known reasons when this segment hits or that prediction drops. So it's okay. I am fully prepared for it, but I'll just tell you this, guys. You can say whatever you want. I'm not the only one saying this. This is the pick amongst most people I see that are talking about college football. You asking the most overrated team in the SEC. I mean, Bear, for what it's worth, and this isn't why I'm saying it. I think this is the most popular answer. And again, I don't think it's because South Carolina is going to be terrible, but I don't think they're going to finish 5th in the conference. I don't think they're going to make the college football playoff. I don't see it. I think they're the most overrated team in the conference. Again, in comparatively to 10-2 or 9-3 expectations. Lenora Sellers being the preseason first-team All-SEC quarterback. I'm not saying he's not capable of that. I just said he was the best pound-for-pound football player. But because of, I think, what's around him, there's a lot of preseason hype on the Gamecocks. And Bear, if you follow this program long enough, this is a program that when you put preseason hype and expectations on them, buddy, they crumble. They just flat out crumble. Hey, you'd have thought I was crazy if I said that 2023 team with Spencer Rattler and Juice Wells and Xavier Legette and all the pieces they had. If I'd have told you that team was going to miss a bowl game, you would have thought I was insane. I don't think this team's going to miss a bowl game, but I think getting to like 9-3 or 10-2 is after all they lost on defense. You're not going to lose a guy like Kyle Kennard. There's just going to be somebody else who you plug and you replace. Nicky Manwari, same thing. Losing guys like Debo Williams, in the middle of your defense, one of your leaders at linebacker. You still have good players. I mean, Bear, I'll go ahead and put it out there right now, because by the time this drops, I will have dropped my game-by-game predictions for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Because, Bear, I got South Carolina beating Alabama. So I don't think they're going to be a bad football team by any stretch. But I don't think they're going to be the darling that so many have painted them to be, finish 5th in the conference, be knocking on the door of the college football playoff. I think they're overrated from that standpoint. So I'm going to go South Carolina. And again, I am fully prepared for you can kick, you can scream, you can cuss, you can say whatever you want. If you want to play silly games and win silly prizes, I will block you. It's totally fine if you say something outlandish or crazy, because I know it's coming. That's why I'm putting this disclaimer on it. I know it's coming. Again, if you want to F around and find out, I'd be more than happy to let you find out. But I'm going South Carolina, and a pick's never personal. It's just my pick. So,
now you South Carolina fans listen to me, and you listen to me well and down. After you and him get in an argument, you come on over to at Mr. Cole Thompson, where the War Chickens are still very well loved, very well respected, and maybe even a college football playoff team in my book. Who's to say? We're going to find out pretty quickly. Because next Thursday, we drop our playoff predictions. I'll tell you what, I do have South Carolina as the number 5 team in the SEC.
Right on the verge. I mean, listen, I respect it. I just don't agree with you.
So here we go. You have the sad, and now you have the joy.
The yin and yang.
You have the yin and yang.
You got to have a good push and pull. There's got to be some balance.
You hate on him, you come for me. You come for me, Gamecock Nation.
Thank God for the Bear. Thank God for the Bear. Bear, on the note of what you were just discussing with Hugh Freeze, how many SEC head coaches get fired or retire? I want to throw that caveat in there. How many head coaching changes do we have in the SEC when it's all said and done? It's going to be more than 0, right? There's no way we're doing what we did last year and bringing back all 16.
I'm trying to decide. I know. Let's just go with this. I think 3 for sure. I think Hugh Freeze is going to be out. I think 3 for sure. I think Hugh Freeze is going to be out of a job at Auburn. I do.
Do we agree on Pittman?
I think Pittman steps down. I don't think I think he retires. Okay. So it's a little bit.
So I'm going. I know we're kind of joint doing this. I think Pittman is. I think he's a dead man walking. I think the situation at Arkansas. It is what it is. Whether he's fired or you're probably right. They probably have a conversation. There's a mutual parting of ways. I think if they can, because again, that's what you get when you're a likable guy like Sam Pittman. Yeah. But yeah, I think Pittman for sure. I got Hugh Freeze also because I've got Auburn at 7-5, and I don't think that's going to be enough. I really don't.
They need to.
I think
you wins.
You want a bold take for you right here? I think Bobby Yaga puts the final nail in the coffin.
That's not bold. I predicted that too.
I think Vandy puts the final nail up in Nashville. That's it. I think once they pick up their 4th loss and it's to Vandy, I think he's done. I think he's cooked. So, who's your 3rd?
Stoops.
See, and are they going to pay the buyout though?
So let me explain. So they were saving up the money from the collective to pay out John Calipari. That money. I
remember you saying that.
That money was used toward him getting a restart in basketball. When he left for Arkansas on his own accord, that money didn't leave with him. So they have the money. If they end up going 2-10 and they lose to Toledo, there's no hope for this program. There's none. There's no direction. There's no life, and you need a change.
Yeah. And there's not a program with less juice in it than Kentucky right now. That's what it feels like, at least.
And it's not to be disrespectful because of I think what Stoops has done for this program forever should be revered. But remember that there was a time when we said you got to move off of Gus Malzahn. You got to make some changes. We can't keep living in this type of entity. We have to be able to hit reset. It feels like that. It's not personal. It is more so because of we have got to just make the changes. And then the last one for me that I'm fighting on is Jeff Levy. I don't think he does get fired. I don't. But if you don't win a conference game and let's say you lose to Southern Miss week 1, everything is changing. Everything.
Well, that would change everything. Yeah. No kidding.
So it's I don't want to say Jeff Levy because I think that even if they were to go 3-9 this year, they're going to give him one more season. Now they're going to say you have to fire Coleman Hutzler. You have to make these adjustments to your offensive personnel. You have to have investments into X, Y, and Z. But if you lose, let's just say that you are close in every SEC game and you win 1. It's progress. I'm losing again to a G5 opponent by double digits with a roster that I feel like has been more improved. At that point, I just can't buy into it anymore.
I'll go 3 as well, not to copy you, but I'm going to go Pittman, Freeze, and Stoops. But I think even if it's not those exact 3, I think a pretty good safe over-under's 2.5.
2.5.
I think 2.5, I think it's either going to be 2 or 3. Maybe you trade out Freeze for, I could see Venables because I think the expectations are just crazy. When you got our buddy in Norman telling us that 8-4 might get him fired, I'm like, y'all better start preparing now because that might happen. That is, and again, I'm bullish. I'm very high on Oklahoma, higher than I maybe even expected to be. I'm drinking some of that Kool-Aid, but I think it's going to be 2 or 3. I'm going to go 3. I do agree with you at some point, man. You got to just move off of Stoops, dude. On that note, Bear, who's the worst team in the SEC?
It's Kentucky. It's Kentucky. I'm not even
You and I both are going to say Kentucky.
And here's I'll explain
dude,
why.
Again, the program with the least amount of juice, at least State, they got some optimism.
Yeah.
There's no optimism in Lexington. None.
Bear,
I'll say this. I've got Kentucky going defeated in conference play.
So do I.
There you go.
But like for me, here's what it comes down to. I get to have both these programs blind. And I get to take one player on offense, one player on defense. Both of them reside at Mississippi State. Offensively, it's either you can go with Fluff Bothwell, you can go with Davin Booth, you can go with Blake Shapen, you can go with any of them. For Kentucky, I think you could go with Jamori Macklin. I do think that Jamori Macklin is a very talented receiver, and he'd be the number 1 receiver at Starkville this year. I do believe that. Defensively, I'm getting a potential All-American in Isaac Smith. You don't have that Kentucky this year. So simply just based off of that criteria alone, I lean Mississippi State over Kentucky. That's it. That's what it comes down to.
Kentucky feels like a pretty easy answer to that question.
And
I guess you could go Mississippi State, but Kentucky feels like a pretty easy answer.
It's disrespectful, but it just feels so right. It does.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Bear, before we move off. Do you have Toledo beating Kentucky? I'll be honest with you. So I was the one that went bold last year and picked Toledo to beat Mississippi State. I'm not going back to the well twice, believe it or not. I feel like I don't know that I can get that fortunate.
I don't know. It's not going to shock me. Okay, let me say.
It won't shock me at all.
It will not shock me if Tucker Gleason and Jason Candle mark on in there and get a win.
Toledo's good. Toledo's good.
I may have Toledo as the representative of the G5 in the college football playoff. So I'm just saying.
The Rockets? How about the Rockets?
Cole
Thompson pushing that rocket height, baby. Hell yeah, let's go.
Yes, I have them beating Kentucky. Who said that? Who said that? Where is that person? They need to come out here and show their face.
Bear, SEC title game prediction. I know, again, when we dropped our predicted order of finish, we gave these picks, but obviously, again, we sit now just a little bit over 2 weeks from kick. Updated title game prediction. I'm still going Bama over Texas. I've got Bama, Texas in the SEC championship. Alabama winning it, hoisting the trophy. Again, thus, Kalen DeBoer, coach of the year. Thus, Ty Simpson, breakout player. Give me the Crimson Tide over the Horns.
I'm going to be sleeping on the couch that night, and I've accepted it because I have Alabama beating Texas in the SEC championship. I like Texas a lot. I think that Texas is going to drop a game in the regular season to an opponent that probably is getting maybe a little bit too much hype right now, but I do think that it's warranted. I think Alabama drops a game to a team that maybe is getting a little bit too much hype right now. That is warranted. But both go 11-1. I think at the end of the day, you're giving me Kalen DeBoer. You're giving me Alabama's defense to go after Arch Manning, to go after this offensive line. Make sure that there is pressure nonstop throughout the afternoon in Atlanta, a place that Alabama fans have taken over and have made sure they call it a second home away from home when Nick Saban was calling the shots. And I think they get the job done. But I do think that Texas, because of the new college football playoff format, is the 4th team to get the bye. So they both end up benefiting by playing in this game and getting a first-round bye because of the way the new format works. So you no longer have to worry about, hey, who's hosting a playoff game? Both of them, one's going to be the top seed. The other one's going to be the number 4 seed.
So you and I are both going Bama over Texas. SEC
We're both going Bama over Texas, which means it's not going to happen right now at all.
It's definitely
it's not going to happen.
And I couldn't feel worse, to be honest with you, with these picks. That being said, Bear, as we wrap up here, again, this has been a lot of fun. Let's rapid fire. I'm going to give my predicted order of finish with records with no explanation, because if you want those explanations, I will be dropping those, my game-by-game predictions, in separate videos for every single team over the next 2 weeks. I know Bear Thompson will have explanations for all of his as well. But in closing, rapid fire here, Bear. Again, I've got Alabama finishing first, 12-1, 8-1 in conference play. Yes, of course. That includes the SEC title and then winning it. Texas, obviously, at number 2, 10-3. So I do have Ohio State winning week 1. 7-2 in conference play as the runner-up in the SEC title. Tie for third, I got Georgia and LSU, both 10-2, 6-2, both in the college football playoff. I think we're going to have a similar situation to last year, Bear, with these group of 9-3 teams. Oklahoma at 9-3, 5-3 in the SEC, finishing fifth. I got A&M and Ole Miss tied for sixth, both at 9-3, 5-3 in the conference. I got Florida at 8, 8-4, 4-4 in conference play. South Carolina at 7-5, 4-4 in conference play. I then got – all right, here's where it gets interesting. I got Mizzou and Tennessee tied 10th, both at 8-4 and 4-4 in the conference. I could not believe how high I was on Tennessee, but they just have a favorable schedule, man. I mean, I got Vandy 12th at 6-6, 3-5 in conference. Auburn at 13th, 7-5, but 3-5 in conference play. Arkansas at 14th, 5-7, and 2-6 in conference play. Mississippi State 15th, 4-8, 1-7 in conference play. I do have them getting a win. Who is that win over, you might ask? I'll tell you, Bear. I think they upset the Vols at home. And then I got Kentucky 16th, 3-9, 0-8 in conference play. And again, hopefully I did that order correctly with all the tiebreakers and what have you. But even if I didn't, oh well, there you have it. So yeah.
I will be a little bit more long-winded because I'll probably just do it on my TikTok or Instagram feed for you to watch the entire video. But I have Alabama at 11-1, 7-1. Who is that loss to? It's Chris's game of the year. I think LSU marches on into Bryant-Denny Stadium and they pull off the upset. I got Texas at 11-1, who is the loss to, and 7-1 in conference play because I do have them beating Ohio State. I do not think that DJ Lagway or Florida is going to allow them to back down in the swamp. They're going to get the win over the Longhorns early in October. 10-2 for LSU. I'm going 6-2. Who are my losses to? Funny you should ask. I have them losing on the road to Ole Miss, and I have them losing at the end of the year because of it is LSU, and you can't have nice things like making the SEC title game. I have them losing to Oklahoma on the road to close out 2024.
Funny enough, I have them losing that game also.
10-2 for Georgia at 6-2. Both losses. Surprise, surprise. They come at home. I got Alabama and I got Texas beating them. 9-3, but 6-2 in conference play. I have the South Carolina Gamecocks. I have them losing to LSU and I have them losing to Alabama. And then I have them losing to Clemson. So because of their 9-3, but they're 6-2, they have the edge over 9-3 Florida, who I have finished at 5-3.
Really quickly, does the committee favor South Carolina because they feel like maybe they screwed them last year?
It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the ACC and Big 12 title game.
Yeah.
If there is a 9-3 team this year, I think it is South Carolina. I will say that. I will say that. 9-3 for Florida. I have the losses coming to LSU, Texas A&M, and Georgia. I have Oklahoma 9-3 as well. John Mateer gets the job done, except when he plays against Texas, South Carolina, and Alabama. Texas A&M comes in at 8-4 for me. Ole Miss is next. My bad. They're 4-4 in conference play. Losses come to Georgia, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Florida. Texas A&M comes in at 8-4 following them. They end up getting a massive win over Florida, but they find a way to lose to LSU, Missouri, South Carolina, and Texas. Mizzou comes in at 8-4 for me as well. Losses to South Carolina, Bama, Auburn, and Oklahoma. I got Tennessee at 7-5, and I'm never going to beat the allegations now that I hate the Volunteers. I think they're a terrible organization, that everyone out there in Rocky Top deserves to rot in hell. I got losses to Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Oklahoma, and I think that Taylor Green would be the better quarterback for Rocky Top this year, which is why I think that the Arkansas Razorbacks get that win. At 6-6, 3-5, I got Auburn. However, I do have them losing to Vanderbilt, and this is where Hugh Freeze is shown the door. 6-6 for Vanderbilt as well. Their losses come to South Carolina, Bama, LSU, Missouri, Texas, and Tennessee. I got 5-7 for the Razorbacks. Their losses come to Notre Dame, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Auburn, LSU, Texas, Missouri. I have Mississippi State at 3-9. I think that they do not win a conference game, so they are 0-8. Their wins come against Southern Miss, Alcorn State and Northwestern Illinois. And I have rounding up the rear at 2-10. I have a loss to the Toledo Rockets, a loss to Ole Miss, and wins over Tennessee Tech and Eastern Michigan. I have Kentucky.
2 winless teams in conference play. Sheesh. I mean, it's very possible, but sheesh.
It's crazy. I'm not happy about that.
Well, there you have it, Bear. All the picks are there. All the picks are out. And we just previewed the 2025 SEC football season. Feels good. Kickoff is just around the corner, guys. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Make sure you stick around. Once again, Overtime Drive, live every single Monday and Thursday night, 8 o'clock Central. Also, when we get to week 0, we're adding Sunday in the rotation. So we're going to have our Sunday Fun Day show, recap show, just like we did last season, if you're familiar with that. If not, it'll be us talking ball. You kind of know the drill at this point, recapping everything that happened over the weekend, giving our takes, giving our thoughts. That will start the weekend of week 0, like I mentioned, but we'll be back on Thursday locking in some picks for the college football playoff and our national champion specifically. Going to be an electric show, guys. We've made it that time of year. It's officially here. Guys, once again, as always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast. Where you get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, this is the Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered's SEC football show, the best SEC football show on the internet. We love each and every single one of you. Appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your Monday night. Have a fantastic week. And for Bear Thompson, I'm Chris Phillips. We're signing off. Appreciate you all. We'll talk to you all on Thursday.